One of the hotspots of St. Michael's College School is the free-to-use Enzo Montemiro Fitness Facility, a place students grades 9 through 12 can go to work out. Around 100 students a day visit this fitness facility at a variety of points in the school day. Exercise is the cornerstone of any healthy teen's life. Working out promotes healthy living and a well-balanced lifestyle. However, there are many pitfalls of working out that are rarely brought to the light of day. These pitfalls, such as body dysmorphia, ego lifting, and injury, can be physically and psychologically damaging to young students. With many students just starting to work out, they are soon going to fall victim to one or more of these pitfalls.
So body dysmorphia. So I come from more of a sports background. So it was never really how your body looked. For like where I come from, it's been with football. So it was always, okay, how do you measure up in terms of what your numbers are in the weight room? Or, how heavy can you be for a certain position? Me personally, I played with the offensive line. So I was always kind of tended to be a little bit smaller. So my experience with that was more so, well, you got to get bigger. You got to get, not so much in one part of your body has to be bigger. It's just you have to hit more of a number on a scale.
Mainly, I kind of just want to have when you're at a pool or at a beach, you're like, oh, that guy's ripped. That's kind of the dream physique. That's the goal.
So it's funny because I'll always ask that question to somebody who's new to the gym. What do you want to get out of being in here? And if the first answer right away isn't just general strength, it's bigger muscles. It's always going to be one of the first two things that a kid is going to say. More specifically even is bigger arms. And that's great. It's great to have a type of goal that you want to be going towards, but a lot of what fitness is now isn't just how big your muscles are. It's about being able to move when you get to my age or a little bit older. And a lot of guys don't realize that having the big muscles now is something that's going to affect you much later on in your life, where you're going to be moving a little slower, and we want to make sure that with a general fitness outlook on life is not only how you look physically, but how you feel. There's a ton of guys I know that even when I was training and playing football, stretching was kind of it's something you don't really need to do. As long as you can get the weight up, that's all that matters. And I'm definitely feeling it now, my back, my shoulders, my knees. If I would have taken that little bit of extra time just to warm up, stretch properly, it makes a world of difference from how you start to how you finish when you're a little bit older. In terms of being unrealistic, a lot of guys don't have anything super specific that they want. It's pretty general for a lot of first timers. You'll get more specific and even unrealistic goals when guys have been here for a while. They start to notice, okay, well now my muscles are getting bigger. Okay, well, how much more weight can I push, or how much bigger can I get? And that's when it gets to the point of, okay, maybe they want to look like how you would look on a magazine cover or something like that. And that's where, a lot of that stuff is probably a bit too much, or introducing stuff that's dangerous into your body in order to achieve those goals. A lot of the advice I give to a lot of guys here is just trust in what we're trying to do, and it'll get to where you want to be and how you want to feel when we're going through it.
So I'll take this on two sides. First, personally speaking, having trained for the past 25 years of my life, I think when I first got into training, it was more of an aesthetics purpose over functionality. And I've found that having changed my body multiple times, having been as high as 205 pounds in weight, with very, very little cardio, and as being as low as 155 pounds in weight with having an incredibly high cardio, I think a lot of it had to do with how I felt. And part of that is these social media influences on what a male body should look like. And I find now more than ever with the social media influence and instant gratification, we're finding more athletes, more students are getting into training for what they look like as opposed to function and purpose. And then they get into the pitfalls of, well, if I don't look a certain way, now I'm not good enough. And they're looking at their perceived aesthetics as being the functional piece of success, which I think is a disastrous way of looking at training for young men, young women, young athletes, especially if they're untrained, because you'll see results really quickly, and then if you're not getting those same results, you tend to work negatively against yourself until you can achieve those results.
Like, what's your dream physique?
Definitely C-bum like, you know.
Very dramatic. He sure does. Great conditioning.
Oh, look at that. Nice.
The wide shoulders, like the V taper, and the huge legs for sure.
Nice. C-bum, right?
So usually, first time in the gym, most students that I've seen or have interacted with are coming in with a false sense of reality of where they're starting, and they tend to want to focus primarily on muscles that can be seen. So they work on their chest, they work on their biceps, they work on their traps, very little compound movements that involve full range of motion. And for the vast majority of students, they're coming in just to look better. That is different from working functionally to increase a movement palette, which I am a firm believer in the joint by joint approach, that students need to learn to train effectively and move well before they start training. So my experience has been slightly negative coming as a strength and conditioning coach and as a teacher in phys ed. I'm seeing a lot of students come in with the wrong intentions, and their intentions are to get bigger and to be in comparison to what other people are doing, not in comparison to what they realistically can do.
Yo.
So ego lifting, it is tough, especially coming from a school like St. Mike's where it is all guys, and you kind of want to, you know, unfortunately the way it is, kind of show off to everybody else in here about how much you can lift. Where I tend to see it a lot in this gym is guys will come in, no real warm up, and then they want to test the run max at, you know, whatever exercise they're doing. That's not the right way to train. You want to come in here and do your 1 rep max, you're getting absolutely nothing out of it.
So among teens right now, I would say body dysmorphia is of huge concern on two ends. For females, obtaining an ideal body weight, looking curvy, and being thin is a problem because they're maybe not training enough to obtain those results and would restrict their diet and eating, whether it's through anorexia or bulimia nervosa, restricting their eating and then purging, primarily for females. For men, males, the ideal body image is to look muscular, to have very lean body mass, to see all of your muscles, which I think runs at a detriment because body fat is still important in terms of maintaining metabolic health and regulating our internal homeostasis. Whereas if we're only focused on the aesthetics piece, we tend to only gravitate towards exercises that maybe could be putting us in a disadvantage of injury.
You got it. Let's go. Yeah, push more take. Come on. Let's go. You almost got thoughts. That's almost things.
So first and foremost, in terms of working with a coach would obviously benefit athletes or students tremendously in terms of learning proper mechanics and movements. But I'd say even without a coach, having goals laid out clearly in advance that are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and have some sort of time parameter built directly into their goal setting. I find many students and many young athletes come in with a purpose of getting bigger, stronger, and faster, but they don't know how. And they just tend to look around the room or look on social media, find the best workout plan, and they don't know how to do the movements, but they try their best. Trying their best necessarily won't give them the best result if they're not doing it correctly, if it's not skilled appropriately, and if their body is prepared to train. So I think holistically, when it comes to training, there should be a goal, an outline, and there should be testing protocols in place in order to track your metrics. And I find to be realistic with yourself, you need to check your ego, you need to be humble, and you also need to be realistic on what you can and cannot do. don't look over your shoulder saying, well, my friend can do this and I'm going to be able to do that, because you're a unique individual and everybody is unique and moves differently. So I think we need to appreciate that we move differently and work towards goals that we've set out for ourselves that haven't been scripted to us by someone else.